Hello everyone, welcome to our presentation. Today, our two-member group will bring you the information about the topic socio-cultural force. We will discuss the four main parts: the significance of culture for international business, the socio-cultural component of culture, pervasiveness of the information technologies, and the Hofstede culture value dimensions. Before we jump into the first part, we have to understand the definition. What is culture and what is socio-cultural? Culture is the sum total belief, rules, techniques, institutions, and artifacts that characterize human population. And socio-cultural is the association of cultural and social. Culture affects all business functions. In marketing, the wide variation in attitude and the value requires that many firms use different marketing mix in different markets. For example, the values of P&G for Kame Shop in Japan. At this time, P&G, despite the warning of the advertising agency, even advertisements in which a man meeting a woman for the first time and compare her skin to that of a fine porcelain dolls. The ads work well in South America and Europe. However, it insults the Japanese. In Japan, this action is said to be rude or unsophisticated. P&G urged because of its lack of knowledge about the business culture. So, it's important that each element of marketing be considered for its cultural relevance. The national culture is also a key determinant for the evaluation of managers. In Great Britain, people was promoted because of the school they had attended and their family background, but not for their accomplishment. School ties are important in France too, and in fact, this phenomenon extends elsewhere. An example is the Elias Bishop Cotton Boys School in India. Personnel problem can result from difference and attitude toward authority, another social cultural variable. Latin American can traditionally regard the manager as a patron, an authoritarian figure responsible for their welfare. And when American managers accustomed to a participative leadership style are transferred to Latin America, they must become more authoritarian, or the employee will consider them weak and incompetent. According to expert opinion, the culture includes 9 socio-cultural components. You can see it in the page 70 of the book. Today, we will discuss about the first 2 components, aesthetics and attitude and belief. First is aesthetic. Aesthetic pertains culture, sense beauty and good state, and is expressed in its art, drama, music, folklore, and dance. Of particular interest to international business people are the former aspect of art, colors, and the form, because of the symbolic meanings they convey. Colors, especially, can deceptive because they mean different things in different cultures. For example, the color of mourning is black in United States and Mexico, black and white in the Far East, and purple in Brazil. So marketers must be careful to check whether colors have any special meanings before using them for products, package, or advertisements. Be careful with the symbols too. In general, avoid using a nation's flag or any symbols connected with a religion. Recently, protests in Europe followed the publication in Denmark of cartoons showing Mohammed wearing a turban shaped like a bomb. Music and folklore. All we know that musical commercials are generally popular worldwide, but tastes vary and the marketer must know what kind of music each marketer prefers. A commercial that uses a ballad in the United States might be better received to the tunes of a bolero in Mexico or a samba in Brazil. The incorrect use of folklore can sometimes cost a firm a share of the market. For example, associating a product with the cowboy will not obtain the same result in Chile or Argentina as in the United States, because in those countries, the cowboy is a far less romantic figure. It's just a job. In many areas, especially where nationalistic feeling is strong, local firms have been able to compete successfully with foreign affiliates by making use of indigenous folklore in the form of slogan or the proverb. The attitude toward time cultural characteristic may present a more adaptation problem for Americans overseas than does any others. Time is important in the United States, and if we must wait past the appointed hour to see an individual, we may assume this person is not giving our meeting the importance it deserves. But the wait could mean just the opposite elsewhere. Latin America or Middle Eastern executives may be taking care of the minor details of their business so that they can attend to their important visitor without interruption. Probably even more critical than short-term patience is long-term patience. American preoccupation with monthly profit and loss is formidable barrier to the establishment of successful business relationships with Asian and the Middle Eastern executives, especially during the development of joint venture and other business relationships that have good potential in the long run. Attitude towards achievement and work. Germans put leisure first and work second. In America, it's the other way around. Now, let's look at the example. Angela Clark was born in Germany but now works for GCP as a mechanics manager in Washington, D.C. N3 has a comparable job for comparable pays in Berlin. There is no comparison. However, in the hours each work, N3 worked a 37-hour week with a 6-week annual vacation. Clocks work a minimum of 44 hours a week, including evenings, about often Saturday or Sunday. She bring work home and never take more than 1 week vacation at a time. If I took any more, I feel like I was losing control, she says. Another aspect of the attitude toward work is the prestige associated with certain kinds of employment. The distinction between blue-collar workers and office employees is especially great, as typified by the use of two words in Spanish for the worker obreros, ones who labor signified with a blue-collar worker, whereas an office worker is an employee though.
Hello everyone, my name is Uyên, and the next part of our topic today is about the pervasiveness of the information technology. So at the beginning, let's talk about the information technology. According to Wikipedia, information technology is the use of computer to store, bring back, transmit, and manipulate data or information. Furthermore, information technology is typically used within the context of business operations, As we know, information technology has dramatically changed the lives of individuals and organizations. As a result, we cannot deny the vital role of information technology in our lives, especially in business operations. So, now I would like to bring you some of the benefits of information technology in doing business. The first one is making right decision. Speed and accuracy are the heart of making right decision for your business. Every successful organization has to go through the comprehensive market research process, which enables management to make the right decision. So, thanks for the development of the information technology, market research can be done in many ways through the online surveys, forums, blogs, group discussions, using the social networking websites, and of course, through in person interviews as well. Nowadays, we have a lot of tools to extract the useful information like big data and Google Analytics. These pieces of software effectively impact on making decisions of the organizations. So, what is big data? Nowadays, we constantly produce a lot of data, for example, from the social media or public transports. And we create a huge number of pictures, documents, which are uncountable. So we call it the big data. Simply, people work with the cloud computing and powerful algorithms to analyze over a billion pieces of data in minutes. As a result, for example, Netflix analyzes the big data of the viewers, like the popular shows and watching habits, and this way they can produce a successful series with the perfect combination of the directors, actors, actresses, and plot. The next advantage is supporting customers. The higher level of customer satisfaction is the key to success, which cannot be achieved without a right customer support process. Business success depends on knowing its customers' needs, trends, behaviors, and satisfaction level. Effective communication is the best tool to understand the customer demands, problems, and their solutions. Thanks for the internet technology that has enabled us to communicate with millions of potential or existing customers in the real time. In other words, information technology provides many channels to communicate with customer without going out. In particular, some of these channels are emails, web conferencing, hotline phone number, and multimedia messaging through the smartphone. And today, most of business organizations use the CRM system to hold the valuable data for understanding the customer's behavior and for future needs. CRM stands for Customer Relationship Management, a technology for managing all the company's relationships and interactions with customers and potential customers. Through that way, companies could stay connected to customers, streamline processes, and improve profitability. And the last benefit is about managing resources. Resource management plays an important role in business success. When it comes to medium or large organization, it is very hard for the top management to manage all the resources by themselves, and these resources may include physical, financial, and human resources. Luckily, information technology is an useful key to handle these complicated problems by suggesting users guided solutions, and therefore the managers can manage their business and resources almost everywhere in any time by their personal computers, laptops, tablets, and smartphones. One of the great tools to track the business information is ERP, means Enterprise Resource Planning. Basically, ERP is the integrated management of main business processes, often in real time and created by software and technology. In that way, laptop managers feel easier to control and solve their organization problems. And nowadays, most of multinational companies such as Microsoft, Google, or McDonald's use these solutions to manage their offices and staffs worldwide. On the other hand, despite the significant advantages, there are disadvantages that business owners should consider when they're looking to operate new IT systems. The first one is about the increasing the competition with humans for an available job. Although the reduction in the demand for human labor is the advantage to business, it's not good news for human workers because when technology is used in place of humans, employers see no reason to hire them. As a result, the unemployment rate goes up and people struggle to pay their bills and feed their families. And the next one is about the over dependence on the technological advices. As you know, technological advices can be used to automate complex business processes. That's good for every business. Besides that, people overly depend on technological devices when work is automated, and therefore they find it unnecessary to learn how these processes can be done manually. However, these devices can sometimes break down. At that point, production operations are brought to a sudden stop, which can throw your company in a state of panic. Let's move on to the last part today, the Hofstede's cultural value dimensions. Hofstede, a Dutch social psychologist, analyzed an employee survey database that contained more than 116,000 questionnaires from 72 countries. He found that the differences in respondents' answers to 32 statements should be based on four value dimensions. The first is individualism versus collectivism. The second is large versus small power distance. The next is strong versus weak uncertainty avoidance. And the last one is masculinity versus femininity. About the individualism versus collectivism, according to Hofstede, individualism stretches individual goals and the rights of the individual person. An individualist is motivated by personal rewards and benefits. On the contrary, collectivism focuses on the group goals, what is the best for the collective group and the long-term relationships, and therefore the organizations operating in collectivistic controls are more likely to rely on the group decision making than are those in individualistic controls, where the emphasis is on the individual decision making. The next is large versus small power distance. Power distance is an extent to which members of a society accept the unequal distribution of power among individuals. In large power distance societies, employees believe their supervisors are right even when they are wrong, and thus employers do not take any initiative to make non-routine decisions. The next one is about strong versus weak uncertainty avoidance. The uncertainty avoidance dimension expresses the degree to which the members of a society feel uncomfortable with uncertainty. Employers in high uncertainty avoidance countries such as Japan and Portugal tend to stay with their organization for a long time. In contrast, those from low uncertainty avoidance nations such as United States and Singapore are much more mobile. And the last one is about masculinity versus femininity. The masculinity side of this dimension represents a preference in society for achievement, heroism, and material rewards for success. Society at large is more competitive. Its opposite, femininity, stands for a preference for cooperation, caring for the weak, and quality of the life. In the business context, masculinity versus femininity is sometimes also related to as tough versus tender controls. This is a graph that shows you the scores of the cultural dimensions of Vietnam. You can see that Vietnam scores high on power distance with the score of 70, which means that people accept a hierarchical order, and with a score of 20 in individualism. Vietnam is a collectivistic society. Vietnam is also considered as a femininity society with the score of 60 and has a low preference for avoiding uncertainty, just 30. From all of that, we can come to the conclusion that Vietnamese employers tend to expect their organizations to look after the workers and defend for their rights. Is another graph that shows you the scores of the cultural dimensions of Japan and Vietnam. You can see that while Vietnamese culture focuses on caring the weak and quality of life, Japanese culture refers to society that can be driven by the competition, achievement, and success. And Japan has a high score of the masculinity with 95. Besides that, because of the threatening by natural disasters from earthquakes, typhoons to volcano eruptions, Japanese always prepare themselves for any uncertain situation. So that's the reason why they have the quite high score of uncertainty avoidance with 92. The two graphs are the examples about management implications of half cities dimensions. He wants to give the managers a basis for understanding how cultural differences affect organizations and management methods, and a management technique or philosophy that is appropriate in one national culture is not necessarily appropriate in another. That's a point of view about the topic social cultural forces. Thank you for listening.